Are college towns the next big Democratic voting bloc? Check this out. 38 of America's 171 college towns have already flipped blue since 2000. And 117 of these towns have grown more Democratic overall. Let's bring in our Republican Gen Z voter panel. Thank you all so much for joining me. Kale, you go to Pennsylvania State. Why do you think this is happening?
I think this is happening because a lot of my generation, Gen Z, gets our information from social media, but also because of a lot of the rhetoric that professors have on these college campuses and the administration of these same college campuses. For example, as reported by Campus Reform, UC Santa Barbara held workshops for white privilege and microaggressions. And that only sends a message to Gen Z, a leftist message, that there's only one way to vote. And because of our age, we are default Democrats.
William, you go to Florida State University. We saw some interesting polling about being proud to be American. I think it was about 16%, guys, of the folks in your generation.
That's right. So I go to Florida State University in Tallahassee, which is known to have a pretty rowdy college environment. And I've seen firsthand the effects of what liberal indoctrination in higher education does to people. So, for example, while reporting for the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform last year, I was shouted down by dozens of protesters and told to go kill myself and to die alone simply for being a conservative. And what this shows is that professors are perpetuating both anti-American sentiments as well as liberal indoctrination in the classroom. And it's conditioning students to mindlessly scream at anybody else with an opposing viewpoint rather than think for themselves.
Yeah, when I used to run Campus Reform, I used to see this all the time across the country. Lena, I want to end with you. Do you think we can change this around? And what do you think Republicans can do more to inspire your generation?
I think they absolutely have to make sure that history and civics are taught in the classroom again. This is a problem we're seeing all the way down to elementary school. I could ask my peers about the economy or the border, and they would know nothing. And that's a huge problem because we're producing uninformed voters. We have to kick out DEI in the classrooms. My Board of Regents just recently did that, and I'm so proud of them for looking into that wasteful spending, as they say. And it's time to get American history back in the classrooms and get this DEI funding and programs out of college institutions.
Kale, real quickly to you, what's your biggest advice for the young Republican student that's on college campus that is afraid to speak out?
If you don't speak out now, I don't expect how conservatives our age are going to be able to speak out in 10, 15, 20 years. It's better to have a civil conversation with someone that might not agree with you at the expense of maybe your social standing than it is to be led by these leftist people in our generation coming down the line. I think that it's honestly not a big deal whether or not people like you based on politics. It's just politics at the end of the day. And honestly, our nation is on the line because of stuff like this.
Yeah. William, why do you classify yourself as a conservative? What is it about the value system that attracted you?
Well, as the son of a Romanian immigrant from a nation that used to be a communist nation, I appreciate the free market economy and all the freedoms of expression that we have here that a lot of students don't get to have. I think we need to have more study abroads in maybe socialist countries so they can see the effects that this has on nations that don't value freedoms of expression and free speech like we have here.
Well, I got to tell you, you're a powerful bunch, and you guys are outspoken. You know what you believe, and I'm hoping that the young person that's watching Fox and Friends this morning is inspired by you. Thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you.